Hi, today I almost want to cover two topics. The first one is to show you this. It's the Blomberg LTA09020w vented tumble dryer. And the second thing is, are people still buying vented dryers and are they still worth it? Just before we start, all I normally say is please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just give us a quick thumbs up, click subscribe. What I do is I talk about household appliances like these. I do specialise in cordless vacuums and there's normally a bit of tech in there as well. So I would appreciate it if you just give us a quick subscribe, then we'll make a start. Now first of all, what is a vented tumble dryer? You will have seen, if you follow me on YouTube for a while, I do talk a lot about condenser dryers and heat pump tumble dryers. Condenser dryers are where you've got normally the water is stored at the top here. That's pretty standard. Heat pump tumble dryers are a lot more energy efficient. They still have the water that collects here, but the main advantage of a condenser or a heat pump tumble dryer normally is that you don't have to have any external venting. And what I mean by that is that all the steam and the moisture that's generated from drying the clothes has to go somewhere, and on a condenser or heat pump tumble dryer, normally what happens is that all of the water ends up in the drawer at the top and you just go and empty it. So it's nice and easy. For a lot of people, the convenience of that is brilliant. What it does mean is that you don't have to have it in a certain place. So for a lot of people it could be just say in a laundry room. Some people put them in bedrooms, in garages. There's a whole array of places that the condenser or the heat pump tumble dryer can go. But with a vented tumble dryer, sometimes you're limited to where it can go. The main reason for that is it comes with one of these, and this is the one that comes with the Blomberg. This is called a vent pipe or a vent hose. It's called different things. Some manufacturers will give like a plastic one, but a lot of manufacturers now are doing this. It's a metal vent pipe. So on this one, so what? While I've got it fully extended, let's have a quick measure. I should have done this beforehand. So you're looking at a metre or just around 39 inches. So it's not too bad. I must say, of some brands they do tend to be a little bit longer than that. The main, I suppose, advantage of something like this, the metal type, is that it just keeps the heat within the pipe. On some of the plastic pipes, if you've ever had one, then you can feel the pipe and it feels quite warm. So some of the heat is escaping before it goes outside. And when I say outside, quite a few people, what they will do is they will have a hole drilled in the side of the house or utility, wherever it is, sometimes in a garage. And the main advantage of something like this is that you just get the hot air that goes straight out. This is one huge advantage of having a vented tumble dryer, that if you've already got a hole in the wall, then it almost makes sense just to go for another vented tumble dryer. And this is something that I suppose is quite a debate with a lot of people. If you've already got a hole in the wall, then why would you want to go for a condenser dryer where you have to empty the water and other maintenance things? You've got to clean the condenser as well, so there's something else to think about, whereas you could just go for another vented dryer, connect up the hose and away you go. But unfortunately a lot of manufacturers are not really thinking like that. I suppose within several markets the condenser dryer and especially the heat pump dryer market is increasing and the vented tumble dryer market is decreasing. But really that's, I think, because a lot of brands are shying away. You will find Bosch, and Siemens. As a brand we do really well with them for a lot of appliances, but it's probably about 2 or 3 years ago that they exited the vented tumble dryer market, which is a shame because some of the products were pretty good. But any of the technology, any of the R&D now is mainly going into I suppose some of the things like heat pump tumble dryer to make them more energy efficient. But what it would be really good is to have a heat pump vented tumble dryer, because that way if you've already got a hole in the wall, then what it could do is you've got the energy efficiency of the heat pump and then it will exit the air outside as well. Now just while I'm holding the hose still, it is important that when you connect up the tumble dryer, I'll show you around the back in a couple of minutes on how to connect it, but when you connect it up, even if you've already got a hose there, then it is important to use a new hose. It doesn't matter which brand it is, it doesn't have to be the Blomberg one. I know Indesit and Hotpoint, they've got a new range of tumble dryers that use metal hose. Admittedly, it's not as flexible as this. I do like this one. But what you will find is if you don't use the manufacturer's hoses, it can invalidate the warranty. little bit about the dryer itself. First of all, this has a 9 kilogram capacity, so I'm really pleased they've done that. This is the first time that Blomberg have made a vented dryer, as far as I can remember. So I'm really glad that they've gone for the larger capacity. 7 kilogram is pretty much taken up by a lot of the cheaper brands. So as I say, because a lot of people are moving up to larger capacity washing machines, I'm pleased that Blomberg have decided to go for a larger capacity dryer. You have got a good sized porthole in here. So on that you're looking at 15 inches or around 38.5 centimeters wide, so it's nice and big to get the clothes in and out of. That's something to try and point out, because there's nothing worse than having a really tiny sized porthole, because you can find that you can forget to get things out or make it difficult to see. As far as the filter in here, it is recommended to keep it clean quite often. Perhaps not every load, but definitely after every 2 or possibly 3 loads. Make sure that's nice and clean. You don't want a big build-up of fluff or lint in there, because what it can do is it can make it more energy inefficient by having the if the filter was full, but you have got an indicator at the top here to show you when it needs to be cleaned, but I'll cover those in a moment. So I'm just going to quickly cover some of the programs, because there's a lot of different ones to choose on here. I'm not going to go into all of them in a lot of detail, but I just want to give you a brief overview. So first of all, you'll see that apart from around here a couple of the manual time settings, that a lot of these are just asking how dry you want the clothes. That's because on this tumble dryer you have got something called sensor-dryer. Sensor-dryer has a huge advantage in the fact that when you put the clothes in the first normally 5 to 10 minutes, it would detect the moisture content and the load, and what it will do is it will actually decide how long is needed to dry your clothes. And the main advantage is that you're not over drying, also you're not under drying the clothes, because there's nothing more annoying, especially if it's stored outside, that, as I say, there's nothing more annoying than having to go outside, find that the clothes are not that dry, put them in for another 20 minutes. It can be quite frustrating on the older style manual time tumble dryers. Iron Dry is a really good program, so what it will do is it will leave everything slightly damp in there. As you come around to some of these other programs, things like the cupboard dry, as it shows here, this is the cotton section, but what it will do, so with things like cupboard dry, that means you can take the clothes out and then just put them in the cupboard straight away. You got things like extra dry. I must say I'm not too sure why they put this kind of program on, because normally cupboard dry will get the clothes more than dry enough. As you come around to this other section, you've got things like the synthetics. Just refer to the manufacturer's instructions first. I know it's quite rare of me to say that, and if you follow me on YouTube for a while, you know I'm not really a huge advocate of reading the instructions. I quite like to figure things out for myself. But just have a look in the instructions, because it will give you a guide as to the capacity of each drying load that you can put in to get the best performance. Because on some of these programs you can't put the full 9 kilograms in. You have got several specialised programs, things like the jeans, shirts, towels, and what these will do is these will just alter the way in which it dries slightly. Also the way the drum rotates, it may rotate a little bit more or a little bit less, but that's really designed for things like, well, especially on this one, the jeans program. So you have got the cool and the refresh. That's a good program if you just want to, if you've had something in the cupboard for a while, you just want to give it a quick blast in the dryer, just to get I suppose any light smells that have been in there, like musty smells. That can really help. Also the refresh program is quite a good one if you've been out, for example, if you're in a smoky atmosphere, and if the article of clothing doesn't really need washing, then you could find, just pop it in there, and sort of after 20-30 minutes it'll be on just a cool program, but it can help to get rid of the smells in there. The next couple of programs, you've got the manual time programs. So if you wanted to put something in for say 10 minutes or 30 minutes, select one of these. As I say, I've covered pretty much these, so you've got things like the sport, towels mix, shirt program. These are some of the specialised programs I was just mentioning a minute ago. And then the final one on here, super short 0.5 kilogram. That's just really a very small load. So what it would do is, if you've done say a quick wash in your washing machine of just say 1 or 2 items, put them in the tumble dryer, put them on the super short 0.5 kilograms, and it's just a nice quick program to make sure they're completely dry. As I say, you've got the on and off here, so it's not a separate button, which is always good. I've just zoomed in on the right hand side here. I'm not quite sure if you can see it. I think there's a little bit of reflection here from the lights above me. But this is just relating to the buzzer, so what you can do is you can switch the buzzer off if you want to. Also, it does give you an indicator as to if you need to clean the filter. That's something I mentioned earlier. You have got a time delay on here, so if you want it to come on overnight, if you've got cheap electricity, then you can do. You can set it to go just using the time delay by it delays it by 3, 6 or 9 hours. I suppose there is a debate as to whether you should have your tumble dryer on overnight. I'm not really going to get into that. If you haven't got any comments on that, would you put a tumble dryer on at night? If you would, or if you wouldn't, let me know in the comments, because I'm really interested to hear that. And then on the final right hand side, you've got some other indicators as well. It's just showing you things like that it's in the drying process, which is pretty obvious when it's working anyway. You've got things like the iron dry and the cupboard dry, so it just tells you just some basic indicators as to what it's doing. Then at the bottom here you've got the start and the pause button, and the reason you've got that, the pause option, and I'll try and cover this in quite a few of my videos when I'm talking about dryers, is that if you were to just open the door, which you can do during the drying process, it will actually interrupt the sensor. Whereas if you pause it, what it will do is it still remembers how long is left. And that's quite an important thing, because if you just open the door, put something else in and then shut it, and then start it again, it's starting the whole drying process again. So it will take a bit longer. So at the beginning of the video I did say I'd be covering two topics. First of all, the tumble dryer, and also, are vented tumble dryers worth it? Are they still worth buying? I suppose, things like the features on the tumble dryer, I've covered most of it. I will show you around the back in a moment. But as far as the vented tumble dryer conversation, if you've already got a vent, if you've already got a hole in the wall, then personally I'd say yeah, if you've already got a hole there, and if you want to carry on using that hole, just pop the vent hose through it, then I'd probably recommend going for a vented tumble dryer. You can also find the energy efficiency. If you're comparing vented with condenser, sometimes the vented can be a little bit more energy efficient. If you're comparing vented with heat pump, that's really a different conversation. It very much depends on what kind of budget you've got. That's essentially what it comes down to. If you're looking for something, say, under £250, then really the vented is the way to go. If you are prepared to spend more, then if you want to get something a bit more energy efficient, then that's the conversation where you need to look into the heat pump tumble dryers, because you will find that they are a lot more energy efficient and they will cost you a lot less. The main downside is you'd need to get the hole blocked up, which isn't an issue. It is quite an easy thing. I did just mention about energy efficiency and the cost of running the appliance. Now this is really something to look at. This is the energy label. As you can see on here, it is a C energy rating, so it's not really into the realms of the A's and A pluses. What you'll find is that that's really the area that a lot of heat pump tumble dryers will sit in. I did say show you around the back of the dryer. As you can see, not a lot to it. First of all, you've got the mains lead position at the top left, and just at the bottom here, this is where you'd connect the vent hose. Because of the nature of it, what you need to do is you just need to thread that on to this adapter, and then this adapter will fit on here. So it's a really simple process to do. And then at the other end, then that's really where you'll position that, ideally through the wall. Or if you really need to, then you can open a door or just open a window and pop it out. It's not really something we'd recommend. The main reason for that is with the nature of this type of vent hose, then what will happen is over time it could start to get brittle if you're moving it around for every drying load. So really would recommend trying to put it through the wall. If you are thinking of buying one of these dryers, I have provided a link below to show you where to get one at a competitive price. I hope you enjoyed this quick video on the Blomberg LTA09020w vented tumble dryer. All I'd normally say on my videos is please give us a thumbs up, click subscribe and leave any comments below. If you have got any comments, either on what I've talked about, things like the vented versus condenser heat pump, just pop it in the comments. Also, if you have got one of these dryers, say the Blomberg one, then let me know what you think about it, because I'd always appreciate the feedback. Thanks for watching.